What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today I'm going to show you around the all-new Mercedes-AMG C63 SE Performance. It is the end of an era, really. It really is. Since AMG was taken over by Mercedes, they have had a V8 in their AMG C-Class, and well, today we're driving a hybrid 4-cylinder in this C63, which, I mean, a lot has been said about this, a lot has been written, a lot has been contemplated about why they did it, why they didn't do like a middle ground 6-cylinder or something like that. Why did they go from the V8 straight into the 4-cylinder? And well, what have we ended up with? That is what we're going to find out today. I'm going to show you around it. We're going to talk about the technology and the mechanics of it, and then we'll take it for a drive towards the Autobahn for an Autobahn blast. So let's dive in. The new C-Class, the new C63, I think it's a very, very handsome car. Loved the way the C43 looked, hated the way it drove, but loved the way it looked. Same goes for this C63. I think it looks super cool, even in this opal white, which I'm not a big fan of, but I think it still looks cool. I'm very happy as well that we've got a combi today, so a station wagon and not the sedan. I think the station wagon is so much cooler. And then, well, a very aggressive front end, of course, with the Pan-Americana grille, which you see on all cars basically. I was overtaken today by a Sprinter which had the grille, so yeah, it's not really that special anymore. We've got big air intakes here, a lot going on design wise there, a lot of angles, a lot of air being directed places. We've got a adaptive intake here basically, so these can close up. Same goes for those in there. And then you have the Autobahn logo there, very cool, and a little vent here, which is functional. The middle part is open, so that is good. Yeah, I think it's a cool car. And then we've got these wheels, which I'm not too sure about. I think they're there's a lot going on, a bit too busy, with an AMG logo on there even, as you can see. And we've got Michelin Pilot Sport 4S rubber around that. Nice and hot, actually. Well, that's very hot. 265 section at the front, 20-inch. Behind that, we've got the regular AMG steel brakes. Carbon ceramics are optional. Would definitely recommend going for those because yeah, you've got a very heavy car here. We'll talk a bit about that later. And you need the carbon ceramics if you're driving on the Autobahn a lot, because yeah, I don't think they will hold up for a very long time. But great rubber. You've got the Turbo E Performance badge there, and some gills on the side. We've got black mirror caps, black window surrounds, and then at the rear we've got 275 20-inch. And of course the rear with the quad exhaust tailpipe, which is fake, part of the bumper, as you know by now. And little diffuser thingy there. And then the badging. Of course, we've got the AMG badge in black chrome, and then we've got the C63S badge in black chrome as well, but it has a red surround, indicating that it is an E-Performance model. And an even better way to see that this is an E-Performance model is by looking at the trunk, because if we get the charging cables out of the way, you can see that even though this is an estate, a station wagon, it's not very practical. This is very shallow. I mean, there's a lot going on underneath here. Of course, this is where the electric motor, the transmission and the E-diff are housed, and also the 400-volt battery pack. So that is all happening in the rear here. So that means that you lose a lot of practicality. You lose a lot of storage here. And then you have to take the cable with you as well. So yeah, that takes even more. There's some storage there, so you might be able to put a cable in there, but yeah, it's not a lot. So what have they done to hybridize this C63S? As I said, we've got all those things sitting on top of the rear axle. It's a P3 hybrid. So we've got one unit that houses the electric motor, the 2-speed transmission and an electronically controlled limited slip diff on top of the rear axle. And then we've got a 400-volt battery, as I said, so 6.1 kilowatt hour. And it has basically been developed to discharge and recharge energy as quickly as possible. Of course, they say that they took a lot of stuff, know-how from Formula 1, which might be the case because of course they also use that kind of stuff. So I'll give that to them. So it's similar to the system on the GT 4-door, the 63 SE Performance. And it has a new type of coolant that flows through the cells and that cools down everything so that the temperature never goes above 45 degrees, I think. So that is a really clever battery, 400 volt, and it delivers 200 horsepower around that. And it works really well. I really like how it works standalone. That thing, the electric drive, but the issue here, it's got two big issues really. Number one, this engine. This is a 4-cylinder. Of course, it's never going to be as charismatic as that V8. We're just going to have to accept that and move on. But the way it works together with the electric drive, I'm not really the biggest fan of. So this is the M139L, which means it's placed longitudinally instead of transversely, and it is the most powerful series production 4-cylinder ever made. It is 476 horsepower, 545 newton meters of torque, thanks to a bigger electrically assisted turbocharger, a Garrett, as you can see, to minimize lag as well. Now, this is all fine. It's, you know, yeah, it's a powerful engine for a 4-cylinder. It works okay, but it just takes away all the character that you used to have in this car. And I think the move from one of the most characterful cars to one of the least characterful performance cars, I think that is a big leap, and I think it might have been too big, and I think AMG might have underestimated that. I really do. Sales of this car have been quite poor. And then rumors surfaced about AMG testing their V8 for Euro 7 to get it back in the E63 and the C63. And then Mercedes said, no, it's not true. But honestly, I think they are actually doing that. And they just don't want to say that they are, because then no one is going to buy this car anymore. And they are already struggling to sell these. So yeah, I think they might have underestimated the power of the previous C63, because it was absolutely amazing. Of course it had its flaws, but just that big engine in the front was so amazing. Now, another problem, as I said, there are two problems. One is, yeah, the lack of character. Two, the weight, of course, because as soon as you start adding another electric motor, transmission, battery, weight is going to add up. Even though they went from a V8 to a 4-cylinder, which does save a lot of weight here at the front, it's still 500 kilos heavier than the previous C63. This thing, the station wagon, weighs 2190 kilos, which is just outrageous. That is a lot. And because it's that heavy, they also needed to add other stuff, like rear wheel steering, to at least make it feel a bit more nimble at low speeds. Freaking carnage over there. So yeah, that adds even more weight. You've got 4-wheel drive, of course, so it's a heavy fella, this. And well, you do feel that, of course. Now, I did forget one thing. You have wider fenders here at the front, so it's got a wider track at the front, of course, compared to a regular C-Class. So you have flared arches, but they didn't do anything at the rear, so you have quite a skinny rear, which is a shame, because I think this rear otherwise is very handsome, but it's just a bit too skinny, I think. If you look at an M3 Touring, it's just got so much more of an ass, and this is just, yeah, it's a bit skinny. It's very white. It's a white ass. It's a white car, white ass. You get it. So, interior is very nice, of course. We know this interior, this C-Class. It's super, super good. We've got lovely carbon here. These clicky vents are just lovely. We've got lovely leather here, and then these bucket seats. These are optional, and they have holes in them now, and for ventilation and weight saving. They are pretty good. Seating position is good. They are quite supportive. Could have been a bit less wide, I think. I can't adjust the side bolsters, which is a shame. But overall, interior is really good. So, I just started it up. We're in comfort mode. That means we start up in electric mode, and then we can use the driving mode button to switch. Of course, then the engine starts up. So, what does it sound like? That's actually not bad. Revving, that's actually not bad. Driving it, it's a lot worse. There's a lot of fake sound coming through the speakers, of course, as we're used to nowadays. Yeah, and the 4-cylinder, as I said, is not the most charismatic engine. So I do need to keep the climate going because the GoPro keeps shutting down because it's getting too hot. Even though it's not really that hot out today, 19.5 degrees. It's such a crap product. Okay, so we're going to drive it. That means we're going to have race mode. Then we are going to turn off traction control down here until it turns red. There we go. Then we're going to hit manual, and then we're going to pull both pedals and then pedal up drift mode. I'm really happy that they decided to keep this in here, and it works really well. It's a very aggressive powertrain. I do like that. It is on edge, this thing, because of, well, partly because you have that electric drivetrain, of course. You have that immediate torque delivery. As I said, it doesn't really work too well in conjunction with the 2-liter 4-cylinder, because sometimes it's just lagging a little bit behind that immediate push of the electric motor. But oh, when you have it in rear-wheel drive mode, it is a hoot. It is a lot of fun. It lets go immediately. You can control it. It has more than enough power to keep the slide going, of course. It's a lot of fun. So suspension wise, I've got it in race mode now, so everything is at its firmest, which is great for a road like this. Comfort mode is comfortable enough for regular driving, I would say, even though it is very heavy. So sometimes you feel the car like shaking a little bit because they had to stiffen everything up to cope with the weight. But I have to say, I'm not too unhappy with that. It's just brakes are not really great, and of course when you do like quicker turns, you do feel the weight. Also, since the 4-cylinder has to work so hard, average consumption today is 23 liters per 100 kilometers. That's insane. Okay, so automatic, launch control, not as fake as in the C63, which is great. And it is very, very quick off the line. 3.4 claimed by AMG, I did 3.3. So that is properly quick, it really is. The thing gets off the line so good, and if you turn off traction control, you can just feel the power being transferred to the wheel with the most traction. It works really well. Sound, yeah, not great, not great. It also does not provide too much feel through the steering wheel. It actually does what you expect it to do. It also feels quite direct because of that rear wheel steering, but yeah, it's not my favorite. If you compare it to an M3, it's not really a fair comparison. It really isn't. It is miles off that car, dynamically speaking. I'm so happy it still can do that though. That is what a C63 should be able to do, right? Now, I have to say, normal driving, if you keep it in comfort mode, it's actually a really nice car. I really like the drivetrain, apart from the fact that sometimes the internal combustion engine lags a bit. It's very quick, it's torquey, it's smooth, it's supple. It's that electric boost really means that the moment you hit the throttle, you just go, which is very nice. So back to automatic mode. and let's hit the Autobahn. Now, top speed is limited, of course. Unfortunately, it is limited at 270 kilometers an hour in the estate, in the station wagon, which is a shame. I'm not sure how Mercedes calls it these days. It's not combi anymore, I think, but anyway. It is quick though, look at it. It is racking up those numbers at an alarming rate. So you hit that 270 without too much trouble. There we were already. 273. Brakes, oh, the brake feel is not great. That's also because they're regenerative, of course, but it just does not feel like there's a lot going on there, and that is a shame. So that's the limiter, 282. It is very quick though, 100 to 200. We measured it at 7.8 seconds, which is over a second quicker than an M3 Touring. So that definitely is working. It's definitely putting out that power, as long as you keep that battery charged. As you can see, we're at 50% now. I've used 50% in my driving in the past hour, and it does regenerate relatively quickly, and it also discharges quite quickly. So that battery, that 6.1 kilowatt hour battery, it's been engineered to release energy quickly and absorb energy quickly. It's not meant for electric driving per se. It does 13 kilometers of electric range, which is not a lot, of course. It's really not meant for that. So stability at this speed, it's very good. Even in race mode, it absorbs it. It's a bit harsh, but you know, in race mode it's okay, I would say. Oh, those brakes, I can feel it vibrating through my pedal already. It's, yeah, definitely go for those ceramics, guys, if you decide to order one. It might actually end up being one of the rarest AMGs of recent years, because I really think not a lot of people are buying them. I haven't seen one in the flesh even. It's just, it's very expensive as well. In most countries it's quite a bit more expensive than an M3 Touring. Yeah, and you've got a 4-cylinder compared to the 6 in the M3. So yeah, a lot of people are just, they don't want the 4-cylinder in this kind of car, which I do get. But it is exciting. I have to say, it is good to drive, especially if you keep it in drift mode most of the time. It is fun. I mean, that is good. That is good. It feels very natural. And it just shoots out of a corner. Once you have the grip, it just goes. Honestly, I'm not too unhappy about this. I really am not too unhappy about this. I think it really lacks a bit of character, a bit of personality. And it definitely lacks a bit of, I don't know, agility and yeah, chuckability. It's you do feel that weight, and that kind of spoils a bit of the fun. But performance wise, sliding wise, drift mode wise, it is really good. I also quite like that when you drive it like half throttle, you immediately have that electric boost, so it always feels quick, which is good. I think in daily life, when you have it in comfort mode and you also have that bit of boost, we can also turn off the fake sound. That's a little difference, but I think daily driving this is very, very nice, because it just feels like you cut through everything like a warm knife through butter. So even though I really miss the V8, and even though I think it would have been better with the V8, and I think it's a bit too complicated and there's a lot going on, and they have like fire here. Why is there fire? I think, you know, there's maybe a bit too much going on, and maybe a bit too much gimmicky Formula One electric driving. And look at us, I mean, all the screens and all the data and all the animations and all the, look at this, how cool is this? That vibe, that the Formula One technology vibe, I think they overplayed a little bit. We do have an IWC stopwatch here, which I think is quite cool. As like a little nod to the old school IWC clocks in AMGs. I think if they would have made a little bit less of a fuss about it, it would have been a bit cooler. And maybe also this would have been a good setup for a C43, and then maybe keep a 6-cylinder for the C63. That would have been a bit better, I think. Maybe, you know, they have that inline 6. Maybe they could have done something with that. That's a lot of angle. But maybe they could have done something with that inline 6. I mean, the last C63 weighed like 1690 kilos. Maybe if they could have kept that at like 1650 with a 6-cylinder, it would have been very, very good. It would have been a light car, rear-wheel drive, inline 6 turbocharged. It would have been a very good recipe. But you end up with something that is just a bit too heavy for its own good. And a bit too complicated for its own good, maybe, as well. But I will say it is fun to drive, and I like it more than I was expecting I would. So that is a good thing as well. So that's it, guys. I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video or this playlist. See you at the next one. Bye.